What's so disgusting and wrong with drugs has to do with mental health, and explains a lot of why mental health no longer has relevance for humans. I lived in mental health housing alongside drug addicts, drug dealers, thugs, and gangsters who dominated all of us who were there to be healthy. They lived on the bottom floor, they lived on the top floor. They were racist, and they called us who weren't the same described color as them as racist. And so there was a huge duality. But they loved their stimulation. They went out late at night for the reward. They kept track of where everyone went early in the morning. Often they would be in the elevator with me, staring at me with their twitching face, using the last emotion they had in their brain, most likely, probably. Humans are allowing drugs within the mental health system, arguing and saying, well, there's nothing wrong with them. Look, they're healthy. They're happy. Completely ignoring they're brain dead. Most of them, unfortunately. Any human who causes a human to be brain dead with an object, a substance, proclaiming dominance, has a similar evil humans fight against in war. But nowadays, treat as if they are helping everyone with culture and equality and love. Years and years of neuroscience, neurology, cognitive neuroscience, neuropsychology, and humans still are using Freud and Jung, stimulation, reward, behavior, and most notably emotion. Using control processes in a system of medicine and health. For a patient they eventually identify as ready to go home to their spot on the sidewalk, or go back to the shelter, or go back to their house with their family, with their wrinkled face and their disgusting teeth and their confusing thoughts. And disoriented body and brain and world. Evil achieves a goal of money, using an argument, explaining the person chooses to do what they're doing. Not talking about what they're ignoring as the most obvious part of their violence. They use to have dominance and control with another human. And mental health supports these people, these humans on earth. They give them apartments, they give them housing, they give them a nice bed in a mental health hospital. They feed them, they get them strong, and then they go out and they cause more atrocity. And everyone stares and goes, well, there's nothing they can do except legalize drugs and maybe stop some of the deaths with some fresh needles and some crack pipes that aren't so toxic. Humans have caused their own problems with drugs. They're quagmire in some sense. Doing so much work with neuroscience and psychology and psychiatry and neuropsychology and cognitive neuroscience and neurology. They're now out of excuses for what they're allowing and ignoring and disregarding in a system they call health and medicine, proclaiming to make humans better and more well. Solving problems they diagnose and forgetting about other stuff they don't care about. You can hear the confusion in silence, the whispers, the talking when I'm talking, the speaking after I'm done making a noise. Humans are baffled. And mostly could care less. Except for the silence they require on the floor where they say, "Lo hom," where the librarians come and check on me and the other women go and tell me with their body to have the awareness they call mindfulness from the sound they repeat every day in silence. They pile up stacks of books in front of them and they stare at them. They walk around as if they're a mysterious, secretive alien visiting from outer space, checking on some pages in a textbook. They stare at and stare at and stare at and stare at, talking about Christianity and Catholicism and Buddhism and religion and some philosophy about something someone said about what can keep people from doing what I'm doing now, talking too long, saying too much, and making too much trouble for them who need their silence and silence to have their substances and their drugs available and their prostitutes ready for them on Aurora in Seattle, Washington. after they're done working for the civilization they've built, to have these freedoms with no job for a person like me who they call a retard. In the economics they have with their computer and laptop and cell phone, intelligence and brilliance and genius and high IQ, having the conditions to study engineering and to be a surgeon and a doctor and a professor and a teacher of biology and cellular, molecular biology. Humans now stare at another human who has done innumerable amounts of drugs, and also the drug dealer, the thug, the gangster, the cartel, the mafia, the evil, in other words. The drug using person, and then the person who gives them the stuff. And they don't have a problem with either of them. Within psychology and mental health and psychiatry, they make them behave as well as a rat and do what a monkey does until they're ready to go back to the world. And they declare success with what they have as a system and processes. I mean, their stimulation and reward are beautiful, you know, and then they behave so well and they're making sense verbally. However, when there's a theory, a philosophy, a intellectual discussion, suddenly language makes very little sense and not very much progress gets noticed, aside from what they repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat to again have their freedom. To enjoy what they're taught in mental health and psychology and psychiatry. They use to make money. I'm not talking about people who are solving climate change. I'm not talking about people who want no suffering. I'm talking about humans with freedom, who are given their freedom by the people who have taken my freedom and declared me disabled and a retard.